right, people, let's keep moving. Let's go over to, where should we go? Kansas City, and talk about, this is an interesting guy, Frank Che Che DeMayo. I love that name. He was a Kansas City mobster he came to his power at the end of Prohibition. Federal agents estimated that he was pulling in, this is in 1927, $1 million annually. So that's roughly $17 million today. Can you imagine? A really nice house would cost you $10,000 at that time. The Attorney General got word of this and just went through the roof. He doubled the number of Prohibition agents working in the city. And since there was some shaky evidence that DeMayo was also dabbling in narcotics, heroin, he called the Bureau of Narcotics. And the Bureau of Narcotics at that point really wanted to make a name for themselves. They weren't taken very seriously. A lot of people thought they were corrupt. Actually, it would turn out gangsters feared them. They were generally honest and very effective. So the Bureau of Narcotics guys moved in. They developed this informant named Gus West. West was able to drag DeMayo into the case because DeMayo was one of these hands-on guys. He had to be everywhere all the time, despite that enormous money, and he oversaw everything. So his fingerprints were on everything. Not helping him either, he, for who knows why, decided he should open his headquarters across from the federal building in downtown Kansas City. And that's where they observed his comings and goings, and they kept the agents, and they kept track of everything. Then they managed, by working through their contact, their guy inside, Gus West, inside of DeMayo's operation, they managed to get an agent in there named James Kominskis. And Kominskis played the role of an Illinois bootlegger. He wanted to make a few large quantities buy some quantities of whiskey, blah, 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 making a point that he would bring it across state lines to Illinois. That was the key to the conviction. So in 1927, April 27, Kominskis, I mispronounced his name, it's Kominskis, purchased a little bit of whiskey and then some counterfeit revenue stamps from Robert Carnahan, who was a close associate of Frank DeMayo's. So Kominskis returns a few days later. He says, "We sold everything you got me. The quality's wonderful. Give me some more." And he arranged to buy 50 gallons of whiskey. When the money changes hand, the agents storm in. DeMayo's arrested. Carnahan's arrested. They went on trial in 1927, but remarkably, there were 3 hung juries, one after the other, despite this enormous amount of evidence. And they couldn't figure out what was going on until they got word that DeMayo's guy, James Manny Akers, had been bribing jurors right out in the open, which is how they got all these acquittals. So they set Akers up. He was indicted for jury tampering. He eventually went to prison for a long time. And 2 of the jurors went along with him, and there was for taking bribes. So the feds then tried him again in 1928, again being DeMayo and Carnahan. Carnahan received a year sentence. DeMayo got a maximum sentence, which wasn't much, 2 years, and fined $10,000. When he got out, they put him in handcuffs and deported him to Sicily, and that was the end of him. Carnahan survived in the Kansas City mob for a long time. Here's the interesting thing. With DeMayo gone, the city was wide open. Prohibition was still going on. It would go on for, 4 more years? And a guy named John Lanza, who was much more competent, moved in and took over operations and was a highly effective boss.